Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And boy, doing this Mario March as we've been doing, it really has thrown me in this Mario mood. I mean, we started off doing Super Mario Land 2 last time, and it was just like the second I finished Super Mario Land 2, I was like, I'm starting up Mario 3 on the Game Boy Advance. Well, why not? You know what I mean? Like, always a classic, and that version's kind of a cool one because it adds a bunch more extra levels because it gives you like the e-reader card ones, which I had it on the Wii U like that too. But you know, do that. Started playing a little bit of that Mario and Luigi one that they had there on Game Boy Advance, and they going into Super Mario Land, the comic book. It's just like one of those ones. It's just like getting all Mario-ified.
Yeah, well, plus with the newest trailer dropping for the movie, that also adds to it. And I gotta say, I mean, I was already looking forward to it, but part of me wishes, even though that trailer makes me more amped, I kind of wish they didn't put it out there, because now I kind of feel like I know like how the whole movie's gonna play out to some extent. But at the same time, like, goddamn, that was a cool trailer, and I honestly, I like the way they're using the carts.
Yeah, no, it's cool they're putting the carts in there. I mean, everything about it's looking good. Even Shigeru Miyamoto's up there giving you the finger and everything like that. You know, in the pointing way, not the finger of like flipping you off. But like, it's one of those ones where it's like everything's looking cool about that. Fuck you! Don't you dare go see that like the Hedgehog 3 movie. He's still bitter about that Sonic stuff. Yeah, you know, those things just don't die off. You know what I mean? Just one of those ones. You never forget the war. It's like a World War II grandpa. You know, he's just never going to trust a German or a Japanese. You can't escape those, 5 years.
He's just like sitting there, like in the middle of like, he's talking about like, well, boy, the 90s, that like, they're just like some kind of like, I don't know, press conference or some kind, like some representative of Sega happens to be there. He says, boy, the 90s, the console war, it was something. He's like, yeah. It's like slow zoom in on his face, just hear like gunfire and shooting, and then like Sonic jumping, So, like, Shigeru, hey, you all right? You all right? He like just turns, like strangles the guy at Sega, like, what are you doing at this table?
After he strangles, he just stands up and just looks out the window, just squinty eyes, like adjusts the blinds. Just staring off into the void. You don't even know what he's really looking at.
Did we really win? Was it really worth it?
Let's be honest. Nintendo did win. I mean, I love Sega, but it was that war that the Sega had. It's one of those ones. They had a couple of those. It's like the Civil War. There was a couple of those big victories that like General Lee had, and then it all just kind of collapsed after that. And
yeah,
that's what it was.
Definitely.
Sega got a couple good strikes in like 91, 92, 93, and then when Nintendo came out, like, you know what, we can do Attitude Era, and we can do it better. Here's some Donkey Kong, some Killer Instinct. You know what I mean? We're gonna go hard on this.
Yeah, they did win at the end of the day, but I'm just thinking like he's got to, like there's now all this. Before, you could not imagine Sonic being on a Nintendo system, and now it's like I feel like he's going to be, even though he's multi-platform, he's on Nintendo more than he is like PlayStation. But regardless, it's a whole other conversation. But like he is that point though where it's just like. I'm sorry, I just can't get the image of him just like looking out like the window, like just can't get that image of it. But
just sound of fucking helicopters going by and everything for some reason.
I can't help because the movie had to be already almost done, but after seeing Sonic 2 and it got pushed back a little more, I can't help. I'm wondering what they did to polish it up, or what things they added to it, or whatever. Just because they're like, we really can't lose to Sega. We really can't lose to Sega on this one. And don't be wrong, in all honesty, even though I think Mario has a better batting average, Sonic is probably still one of my favorite franchises and favorite mascots. So that said, and it's coming from a studio I don't really care about. I think that Mario movie looks really awesome. I can't help it. And plus, I know that they're doing things in that trailer to try and get people like amped for like, they know what fans are going to respond to, like fire Donkey Kong, like that kind of thing. Like, or even the fact that Mario actually turns big, like he doesn't turn massive, but turns bigger when he eats the mushroom, and him and Donkey Kong are teaming up and knocking out everybody. It's like a side scroller view. And then they also have like that Mad Max style, like kart race battle.
Yeah, and remember, Mario turns big because he eats a mushroom, not because he drank a glass of milk.
Yeah, don't forget.
Just to go back to a very old '90s commercial that it made every kid like that. That's like that one where like you could just see where the generation gap hit there. They'd be like, kids are gonna like it. It's got Mario 64 in it. He drinks a glass of milk, telling you gotta get a good refreshing glass of milk in the morning and everything like that. And once you break the of that, it's like you just lost them all. You lost them all. Maybe if you grabbed some mushrooms and threw it in the milk.
Well, plus that's also the ad where I don't remember
just Mario in the back room grinding up mushrooms.
There's like one single light hanging over. There's one single light hanging over him, swinging back and forth, like flickering on and off. It's like his eyes are bloodshot.
They like that dark, moist environment, just like a grade school cafeteria.
Luigi peeks in like, I said, get the fuck out! His teeth are yellow and shit.
Here, Luigi, rub this grind up mushrooms on your gums. It absorbs faster. I still feel like when I see that commercial, though, I can literally like vividly remember sitting there on a Saturday afternoon watching cartoons and that commercial come up, jump, Mario, jump. And Mario's just like slapping him against the wall. And you're just like, dude, what are you doing?
There's a staircase around the corner of that level. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember it being like, that's not how you get to that point. He's like, jump, Mario, come on, jump. I just remember that, like, what the fuck, kid?
Yeah, I mean, like, don't be wrong. I know we've all played Mario where you, like, I know at least myself is like, there's been some moments where, like, I've done, like, ridiculously more impossible things to get Mario to get up to a section, and then you realize there is a staircase around that corner, you're like, yeah, I just worked my ass off for the last 20 minutes, and walked up the fucking stairs there. But I did come on now. I did, like, a triple jump. I bounced off the wall. I did a little wall kick and everything like that, and I got up there. Yeah. Worked 10 times harder than the game even expected me to, but I did it.
I remember it was a level that was much further in the game. Like, dude, you should know how to play the game by this point. It's not like it's the second level. You know what I mean? It was something like that. Like, it was like the dock level from like on the third floor or the fourth floor or some shit. But yeah, no, the one of the ads that really caught me off guard was because that one was like, oh my God, they're going all out. But then there's one where it was a Taco Bell Mario Kart ad where Mario and Donkey Kong are driving down the road, and Donkey Kong knocks him off the road, and Mario sees a Taco Bell. Then he comes back and like fucking rams him off the side of the road, like in like a Camry or some shit.
Yeah, one of those ones. I will say though, when there was that Mario, or when there was the N64 Taco Bell section, where you could get the logs out of the drinks and everything like that, and they had the cool toys, like you had the Donkey Kong, like he goes up the tree, and then there was the Mario Kart toys and all that kind of stuff there. And I literally have the pogs. I have like the same ones, like the Star Fox and the Mario 64 one, and might have the Ocarina of Time one. I can't remember. I think I have the Donkey Kong 64 one too. But that was an awesome time.
I remember they had that. Yeah, I remember that was just that point where. I remember because like some of them were kind of jank, but it was just more like you're just happy there was something like Nintendo toy oriented, because there wasn't a whole lot of it back then. There was some, but there wasn't a whole lot. And over the Mario Kart one was just basically a little like small little N64 controller where you basically turn the joystick and it kind of like tilts and moves around like the platform is a little marble going down like a Mario Kart course, and then just a Yoshi figurine is all the Yoshi one was. And I remember his arms were weird because they were not like, like symmetrical. They're like apart from each other like this, which I was like, why the fuck they do it like that? Whatever. They probably fucked up in the schematic close enough. Kids don't give a shit, And then the Donkey Kong tree thing.
They want like that comic book perspective look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, those good days of like fast food tie-ins to where it came to movies and video games and all that stuff. there used to be just like this great like marketing strategy that doesn't exist much anymore. Not saying that once in a blue moon you don't see it with certain things, but it's pretty darn rare. Especially like movies never seem to get it very often anymore, unless it's something like they did have a Sonic one at McDonald's where they did have like a fast food tie-in for the Sonic movie too.
I don't really keep up with that shit as much anymore. But when I was a kid, I very much did, because if there was like a Mario tie-in at McDonald's, well, that's the only place you could really get like a Mario figure or something that accessibly, because there wasn't that many back when we were kids. So that was the best chance you had. Same thing with Sonic. Mm-hmm. But I think as far like I walked to McDonald's a little bit ago, and I think they've almost been having like Mario shit there for like the last month and a half or 2 months leading up to this movie.
Maybe that is where they have the tie-ins and so on. Once again, it's like when you don't see the commercials, I think that's also how you don't notice any of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like the olden days where you saw, every Saturday morning you saw all those commercials, so you knew what was up. But yeah, God, even just the Mario movie, like I saw some of the figures because I went looking for, they made a Hot Wheels car of like the Mario van that's in the trailer and whatnot. And I was like, man, I really want that, because in a weird way, like that's what I almost like to collect as well too, is just like those random movie props of like, Hot Wheels cars, whether it be Batman or 007 or something like that, and I went to go look for that and I couldn't find it, of course. But I did see all the Mario like action figures and stuff they had for the movie. It's like, damn, these things are actually pretty sick looking for, you know what I mean? Kids should be goddamn fucking grateful nowadays. Back in our day, we had to search for days to find stuff. And, if you found something, you were lucky because it didn't exist that often. You bought them all. Even if it wasn't very good, you bought it and enjoyed it.
You went there hoping for Mario Luigi, but all they had was a Goomba thing. I'll take what I can get, But then, God, like I saw you sent me a picture of that. It's like, Jesus Christ, yeah, that no way that would have been around that level of detail back when we were kids. But
yeah, they were pretty good. They didn't look cheap or anything.
It's kind of weird though, because like if you get to the end of that Nintendo Direct, they say, oh, by the way, we made like real life models of like Mario's shoes from like Red Wings or whatever it is, that shoe brand, or and like they're displayed at like Nintendo in New York. It's just like, okay, so you're not, I mean, first off, I don't know who would want to buy these super cartoony like clown shoes that like, but like, yeah, we made them with the help of our friends at Red Wing shoes or whatever. I'm like, a workman brand pair of shoes. I mean, that's what Mario would have, but like, you're not selling those shoes, and even if you were, they'd be these weird clunky like clown shoes. Why okay, all right, whatever, because if there's one thing Mario's known for, it's his shoes. It's not the hat. It's his shoes.
Well, I hate to start saying it, like Mario's got like that's literally the equivalent of like when you go to like the Halloween store and you see that they got the Shaggy costume, and like, what's a Shaggy costume? Oh, it's a green shirt and brown pants. Well, like what? I can't find that at any store. You know what I mean? Like, and they're selling for $50 for something you could probably get for like $20.
I know by this point there's like a lot of like Mario like baseball hats or whatever you could probably get, or even like more like those. But I'm surprised they didn't go out of their way to get like what's the name of that hat store? They're everywhere, like every mall. Like I forget what it's called. Something top or
Lids.
I don't remember. Lids, thank you. Lids.
Oh,
yeah.
Tops. Well, I know there's like Lids as well too. Yeah.
Lids, if they have like Lids, or there's some kind of like nice brand, like it looks like actually one of those proper kind of hats Mario has, not just like a baseball cap, but I'm surprised they didn't do something like that, just because I'm like, boy, what kids, let's go to Nintendo New York and see Mario's shoes. Like his shoe, I don't know, that just boggles my mind. Like that is literally a situation of like, like Sega does with Nintendo. This is the other way around on that. Like they're literally like, you know what? They really sold Sonic on some Pumas that they did not have for sale when the movie came out for some reason. But Mario, we're not going to sell these either. But
Well, that's the thing is like Sega or Sonic makes sense because Sonic has really like novelty looking cool shoes, especially when they had those soaps back in like the Sonic Adventure 2 days where you could get the Shadow or the Sonic ones. Like, man, I wanted one of those pairs so badly. And they just skyrocketed in prices beyond anyone could afford. But like that makes sense because Sonic has a cool, unique shoe. And I'll say, I said, probably, if you're a kid going to high school, you could definitely like pull that off. You might look kind of goofy if you're like an adult walking around with the Sonic shoes on and, regular clothes.
Well, I'd probably be afraid to step anywhere, like afraid to step in dog shit or something like that. I'm not one of those people. I don't really, I care about my shoes, but I don't really I'm not super careful. But if I have those, that's one of the reasons they had the Gorillas Converse. I was like, well, first off, those things are super fucking expensive. Secondly, I know shoes get worn down, they get beat up, and I don't want that to happen with these limited editions. So, if I'm not going to wear them, what the fuck is the point of even having them? So that's kind of the Sonic ones, though. I don't care. I probably would have just got those.
Yeah. It's that and they just like, well, who knows if you got the soap ones too, because they got the slick bottoms on them or whatever. So you could, I just love how there was that one phase in life that kind of went away, but it was just like there was the rail where people would literally jump up on a rail and grind it with just their shoes, no skateboard, no rollerblades, no BMX bike, not even just sliding down backwards with your legs across it. I remember used to doing that at the old school movie theater in Sonora because it's long rail you could ride down there, which was, that was the exciting thing to do when you're going to see Austin Powers 1.
I'm just thinking I guess there's that thing of hey, this is the gateway drug to skateboarding, or the kids that can never be good enough at skateboarding if they're ballsy. Cause, I don't know, maybe, or it might even be hey kids, do you want to do skateboard tricks, but you're just not fucking good enough? We can skip learning how to ride a skateboard and just grind. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Well, I hate to say it, I feel like the grinding up the shoes is almost probably maybe more tough than the skateboard. I mean, I guess you got to learn how to ollie to get up there first, but you know what I mean? At least once you get up there ollieing, it's kind of hold on and ride the way down. But I feel the shoes, there's a lot of other motion that needs to go in there. And
well, it feels it just feels like somebody saying I don't know, maybe I should start with the tutorial and work my way up. And then an executive steps in no, Billy, no, in a nice suit and tie, slams a pair of shoes into your chest. Don't be a pussy. Now, come on, get up there. By the way, that'll be $240.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be one of those ones. I mean, it's equivalent of also the old rollerblade shoes too, that is just that just sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I'm just thinking, it's kind of funny because kids mostly like those, but then I remember I haven't seen it in a long time, but only saw it once, and this really stood out to me. There's that Dane Cook movie, Employee of the Month, and he would casually just be walking around with those. This dude in his fucking early 30s, just skating around on these little fucking Heelys, and it's presumed to be he's so cool. Oh my God, look, Dane Cook. I want to work at a department store right around on wheelies. That'd make me the cool guy.
Well, I also remember there was a brief moment in high school where there was a couple of the guys that got those Heelys for some odd reason, because it felt you got to a certain point that just seems dangerous, and this is when you're age 12. You realize that doesn't seem safe at all anymore. And then there was a comeback at age 16 or something like that, where I remember a couple of guys, I almost want to say Casey had him, because he just seems like the guy who would have had him. And just the idea, just rolling around Heelys at high school and so on, just you're just waiting to or you just wait for almost even someone to push you over too while you're on it.
I just remember seeing people riding their wheelies and some other kids throw gravel in front of them.
It's just one of those ones. It's a perfect example of quality assurance testing is watching high schoolers and giving them here, wear these wheelies for the next week. We're just going to watch what happens. This will give us all the testing data we need.
they go to like some school in the Midwest. Like these aren't the people that are really going to buy them. So we'll give them some of the prototype and see how this shit pans out. If it goes really good, we'll then sprinkle these around like East Coast and West Coast, bring them back here, jack the fuck out of the price. You know, the kids that like broke their jaw on the concrete, we'll give them like a 10% discount or whatever. You know, give them a fucking voucher, make them shut the fuck up. They can ride them back to the trailer park.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, it's one of those. Doesn't matter what high school you test them at. It's like the results will all be the same.
Well, they want to do it at poor high schools. They don't want to do it at rich kid high schools. They don't want to do it at some high school.
Oh yeah, no. They don't want like the lawyer, parents to come in and sue them. No. We need people that have no connections.
It's like, well, let's see, parents who work at a finance firm or parents who work at Arby's. Oh, I know.
Yeah,
no offense to parents who work at Arby's.
Yeah, exactly. Those parents got the meat.
Backbones of society, right there.
Just like when Dad gets home from work, he's got a beer in one hand. Like, Dad, you got the meat? Oh, you better believe it, son. I'm packing the meat.
Just pulls a giant like sloppy cheese mustard covered sandwich on the fucking table, like fifth night
slams in the old ashtray.
Just hear that like bass bump, 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 bump.
Was Arby's the one, I have to say this really quickly because this kind of relates to Mario and everything, that was having like the really, really creative, like deep cut ads for like retro gaming type stuff that was Arby's, right?
That was Arby's, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that was the one. It was like the first couple times I saw, I'm like, this can't be real. And that's like, oh, because they were making it's like, oh, here's a Chrono Trigger fucking reference, like in our Arby's. And you're like, what the fuck? It's not just Mario, it's not just Sonic or Halo or any of that kind of stuff. They're going way back, you know what I mean? Like here's a Gradius, burger coming at you.
It was like someone from like a retro video game podcast got a job at like their marketing department.
Well, it is smart because I think they probably were doing like, you know what? We hit all the niche audiences to like the max because they probably had ads for other stuff too, but just, that's what they were doing. They're like, we're going to really, really target a demographic. Either that or they just did the studies. They're like, apparently, guys in like their mid 30s or so are like our highest customer.
They probably just went down the chart like, all right, let's see. Single guys, depressed. They also like video games too. They probably like Chrono Trigger. Yeah, definitely. Like Sonic, fucking definitely Sonic. Throw that shit in there.
They're the kind of guys that you could still find. Yeah, you could still find these guys out in front of the Arby's arguing with their friends from high school about how Billy kicked in the fucking vending machine in Jurassic Park 3. Yeah, I know it seems like a very weird one, but we got a tie-in for that too.
Don't worry. We got them all covered. So I guess continuing Mario March.
But speaking of fun. Yeah, continue Mario March and fun other tie-ins that us Americans weren't, allowed to get back in the day. Still not allowed to get, let's be honest. But as you know, Japan always has all the good, manga tie-ins and all kinds of other stuff. And they had a Super Mario Land, comic that went along with the release of the game and all that good stuff to give you more insight into the story of the ever classic 1989 Super Mario Land title.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of like, I guess, confusion. So I guess there's two big ongoing Mario mangas. There's one that's still going, and that's the one we never read. I don't think we ever covered any of that. That actually may have been the one like from the same company, Koro, that had the
Koro Comics one.
There's Koro Comics. And then there's this one, which is separate with different continuity. And I think this one actually ends like before Koro. But I think this one ended before it got a point to past up to Mario 64 or anything like that. And there's actually a second half to this arc right here, but where we got to in the comic or to the manga is kind of like at least like one little like half of the arc, and it ends. It does not end on a cliffhanger, but it's.
Well, this one goes through all Mario Land 1, the game. I'm assuming the second one must be Super Mario Land 2 or something. Probably not, because it probably continued right afterwards.
I think it does.
But this one hits all the game beats of the original game.
I think it does like that kind of maybe it brings in some care because I saw a video kind of going over like just one of those like history of this character, and it was kind of like it went into like Daisy dies in the following arc. So I was waiting for that to happen, and it did not happen in this one. So it must be the following. But I think they did the thing where it's like at like a certain point, like when the game runs out, they do the thing the Pokemon show did, where just kind of we're gonna make shit up for a little while. We're gonna put in some filler, and that's probably where it happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of guessing. Probably it is, because at first I was thinking, oh, maybe the next one's Mario Land 2, and then the third one's Mario Land 3. I'm like, no, those are released so far. I mean, it's still a couple of years apart, so they probably needed something in between to kind of work it and everything like that. But yeah, it's like one of those ones. These are always those kind of books that you knew of. Like I literally have a Koro comic from like 1998 that I remember there was like this golden tome. I mean, in Japan, these things are just kind of like tossed aside like an old like phone book. But like when you got one in like America, it was just like, look at this thing is ridiculous. There's so many ads for fish in here. There's all this great stuff, and all these cool products, and game ads, and all these comics and tie-ins of like Kirby and all kinds of stuff, and you're like, this is so amazing. In America, we just having a tiny bit of that is like one of the coolest things. And in Japan, it's just like you could just go out and get that weekly and all that good stuff. And the Mario comics are always one of those ones, like as a kid, you're like, God, I just wish I could read all these cool Mario comics, like, well, why didn't Nintendo bring any of this stuff over and so on like that? And it's probably that thing they're like, well, one, we don't want to pay anybody, and two, let's be honest. I guess we can't show Americans Mario's dick.
You can't show kids Mario's dick in America. They're just not ready for it. But even then, you think that's something they would like just edit around, or just do the Dragon Ball thing, throw a leaf over it or whatever the fuck.
Leaf over it.
Yeah, I just didn't really like. I wonder where they got the JPEG for that leaf. If there was like an Ab and Eve cartoon that was being done, like the studio over. Like, hey, I got a friend that works in the Christian animation department. I sell him weed. Maybe he can give us the JPEG to that fucking leaf, and we could just drop that thing in there, or the cell or animation cell for it or whatever. No, like I think this right here, because I was reading this, it is kind of like near the end, I guess a little bit more story stuff kind of happens, but for the most part, it is just kind of like boom, 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 boom. It just keeps on going. It doesn't really stop, and it's really even rapid pace. Like there's almost this crazy chaotic energy to it.
Mm-hmm. No. It is that one. Like, let's just get this going. It just reminds me like almost like the manga artist just sat down. And he's like, okay, I'll play through this. The night before. Okay, make some notes. I think I got this. We'll make a story out of it.
We'll even have like kind of a little mini strategy guide at the beginning of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on here, since we're doing it, we can do the old bloop. Do a little share screen there, and you can see a little bit of how this comic's rolling and so on like that. And if anybody ever wants to read this for folks watching on the YouTube or Spotify, you got this translator. I guess it's not on this Spotify. I think that's been another thing, but whatever. YouTube. And if you want to read these, there's Pack and Sat Games is kind of putting together these fan translations of these, because we all know Nintendo is never going to do it anytime soon, if at all. Maybe like in the near ridiculous future when we're all gone, but. So it's kind of cool because you just get all these, and they're translated, and You got the little guide, which this would have been super important to have back then. You know what I mean? Like any guide that you could come across back in like the pre-internet era. You know what I mean? Like you held on to that for like, especially as a kid, just be like, whether it be a Nintendo Power Guide or Game Pro one, or if you actually got the full-on Prima guide or what have yous.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love how like as this thing.
I haven't played Mario Land 1 in a while, so it kind of took me a minute to kind of like, oh, right, yeah, there's that level. I just mostly thought of it as, oh, it's desert themed. Like, oh, no, just the first level or two are desert themed.
Yeah, well, that's like after I did the same thing too. I read it and I was like, I kind of forgot. I literally had to go back and play Mario Land again. And I was like, I got to go through this one. Plus one, and Mario Land has some of the best music in it. You know, just like, I mean, just the intro theme is so catchy and so on like that. And I forgot, as the thing goes on farther and you get to like, once you get to like, in a sense, like China Land or whatever and stuff, where it's just everything's like the Shaolin monk kind of looking like theme. It's literally got like the turning Japanese theme where like right when the level starts like do 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 do. I totally forgot I had that in there, but it was still kind of fun to go through. You know, you got your Egypt levels and all kinds of stuff, and you know, of course, the underwater. But I love how this thing starts. They're like, you know what? And I think it's because it's a continuation of the Mario 3 comic. I think it's the same artist and writer and everything. They're like, well, we got to kind of figure out how Peach all ties into this. You know what I mean? Because, it just really just felt like Mario just, had like a 2-week like layoff and just went off on like, just a bang spree with like some other princess in another like, foreign country.
It feels kind of like there's that movie, After Hours by Martin Scorsese, where he goes like, you know what? I got to work the next day and it's kind of late, but I got kind of a hookup with this girl on the other side of the city. So I'm just going to go do that. And then one thing goes bad after another, after another, after another. He's like, I just wanted to get fucking laid. I didn't know all this shit was going to happen. So it's kind of like that. Like when you play the game originally, like he just is like, you got to call. He's like, what are you doing? Like, on my way. That's what the fuck I'm doing. And then he gets there like, oh shit, there's fucking aliens, there's Sphinx, there's Chinese ghosts. I didn't know about this shit. Fuck.
Well, just to be like, hey, Martin Scorsese, okay, so we got the next project for you. We, by looking at After Hours, we think you might be right for it. So we need you to do the Super Mario Land movie.
Sold. Oh, wow,
the adaptation of it. Well, yeah. Is it a superhero thing? No. It's video games. Cool. I'm fine with that as long as it's not superheroes, right? Yeah. No. I mean, there's a Super Mario.
What? It's ironic. It's ironic. Oh, okay. Is it ironic? No, fuck, it's not ironic. Just don't tell him that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking say Robert De Niro after this.
Robert De Niro is Super Mario in Super Mario Land.
The thing is like just looking at this, like, is it was kind of come back to me, but I was starting to remember like, oh, I feel like I didn't put it together at the time, and I think that I wonder if it's coincidental. But I was, because I feel like Super Mario Land games, they often go to levels, like maybe not the desert level. Desert level seems very on brand for Mario. But at the time, a lot of levels that did not really seem to just fit the standard Mario aesthetic, they're just trying different things a lot of the time. I think, I know this one has a fire level, has a water level, whatever. But I mean, just some of the idea of like, oh, Mario's going to China, more or less. And then like, oh wait, Mario Odyssey kind of did a couple of these. The way they did because they even fight the Stonehenge things out in the desert in Mario Odyssey.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then there's even like, it's not actually no, I think it's a Japanese level. Never mind, the Japanese level so it's not the same aesthetic, but just near the end of Mario Odyssey,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just kind of interesting just how it started kind of like it seemed to be kind of using like Mario Land style ideas, but incorporating it into like 3D settings. And I wonder if they were looking back to like, what are some like aesthetics we haven't really used, and also something we could expand upon,
Well, yeah, because I mean that's just kind of the cool thing that makes goes with both the Mario Land games is about how like almost original those games are. It has Mario in it, but it's like they just don't. They change so much stuff in in it, but I think that's almost what makes it kind of cool and unique and so unlike that. I mean, it's even like, you pick up the fire flower in this one, and until reading the comic, I used to always just assume like, oh, the fireball is just bouncing, Mario Land. I didn't question. It's like, oh, it's not actually a fireball. It's just like a bouncing ball. I was just like, I was like, yeah, are they just trying something new? I didn't realize it's like, oh, it's not a fireball, or it's not a fire flower.
If I had to guess, that's probably creative licensing. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was a fire flower too, but maybe in the thing, because they changed the fire flower in Mario Land. I mean, it still works the same way, but I guess just because the lack of color, they gave him like a Native American war feather, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think that they maybe in this one they just like we'll just say it's a ball. I don't know. Maybe there's a link in with like a toy for like trying to push that or something. Maybe there's some kind of like Super Bowl toy that just came out. Like if we just say it's a fucking ball instead, we get a few bucks.
It reminds me of like back in the day when you'd get like the bouncy balls out of like the quarter machine, like at like a pizza parlor or something like that. And I remember you would take them and you'd go into like the restroom and you just chuck that bouncy ball as hard against the wall as possible, and it would just ricochet off like like all off the place, go crazy like that. Which would scare the living daylights out of someone if they were like left in the restroom.
I don't remember if it was you that told me this, but I thought this was pretty interesting. Because I didn't know this. I never watched the show, or played the game, so I don't really know much context of it. But apparently, Yu-Gi-Oh, that character Yugi wasn't originally like Yu-Gi-Oh. The card game is what picked up, and usually it would be like the whole gimmick with Yugi is he was like a game master, so he would have like balls or jacks or like a yo-yo or stuff like that, and he would get in and out of situations by being the master at whatever kind of toy or kind of game or puzzle like that. It would always be something kind of like, or like, just something or like tops or spinners or something like that. And then like, hey, you guys have this ongoing thing, you want to introduce this card game, and that's what it became known for later down the line is the card game. But this really seems kind of like in that knowing that really seems like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Like he's just really good with a bouncy ball, That's how he takes dudes out,
Yeah, it's like that concept right there actually just seems so kind of like an interesting one, because then you just picture the guy like it's like Yu-Gi-Oh when he's like older in life. It's like he's the guy sitting at the end of like the baccarat table and so on like that, smoking a cigarette like in like a 007 looking tuxedo, same fucking hair though. But he's like 46.
He's doing like high stakes Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments in like a Vietnamese basement somewhere. Someone's losing a finger if they can't win.
Yeah, he's the game master. You know what I mean? Like just that concept of just like being really good at all like those like almost like simple games. I mean, it felt like it falls. Probably Pokemon cards came out and then they're like, no, go that direction with it. And then it lost that like initial idea. But that initial idea actually is almost, I feel almost even more interesting in a weird way.
That's what I heard. I heard that. I'm like, that actually sounds kind of like that sounds like an interesting concept for like just a kid's character. But I don't know, the ball thing just reminded me of that, because I think a video I saw that said that. I think someone told me, and then I looked at what.
Well, was the ball from like playing jacks?
Jacks or just like some kind of bouncy ball thing. It was something kind of like that. But it was like somebody told me that I went and looked at the video on it, and I saw like a screenshot of that from a manga or something to that effect. And it just reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, here we are on the character list, and people are like, 40 minutes in.
So far we go. You're like, they're talking about bouncy balls the whole time. I don't know. That just reminded me of balls to the wall. Do you remember that game where like you would have to like you'd get bouncy? But this just feels like cheap fucking entertainment for children. You get a bunch of 25-cent bouncy balls, and then you go stand, and then like whoever's got the bouncy balls is chucking them at like the kid stand against the wall, and you gotta dodge it.
Oh right, yeah. There'd usually be like a big cement like just wall there. So they'd sometimes have that in one of my old schools. They just have like cement walls. Like, hey kids, it was ball against a fucking wall. Just be this little like cement slab they have out in the middle of the playground somewhere.
Yeah, well, Twinart had like a massive wall. It had like a wall that would rival like all kinds of walls in life. I mean, you could like literally block out like the Soviets with this wall, but And that was the one where you just all stand against there and everybody would just be chucking it. It's just, I feel like those like simple games. It's like such a primal game. Like, we are going to chuck the balls at the, it's someone. But going into Mario Land, I love how this thing starts off is that like, they're like, okay, we got to get Princess Peach in here somehow, some way. So you know what? Princess Peach is like, hey, after all that work you just did in Mario 3 and whatnot, we got to go kind of help out this other princess. It's her birthday or something like that. But then Peach is like, oh, wait a second. Mario's making sexy eyes at her. Like, no fucking way is this going to happen.
Well, they also make Mario kind of like it does seem kind of like a shonen-esque protagonist. I mean, I guess he's Mario and he already has history here in this comic, but it almost comes across as just kind of like every girl that sees him's like, I just gotta get that fucking dick in my mouth, like just upon just looking at him, like So there's just something about short,
he's literally
fat
John
Italian
Travolta
men
from Saturday Night Fever. He's totally John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. That's what I kind of saw there. Just like one of those ones, like you just can't take him around to like all the clubs and whatnot.
And then like Peach,
but I just even like that goes on. It's just like, oh, go ahead.
Well, I like now. Here's the thing that I wonder how much of this, because I can see it going either way, but I wonder how much of this is like actual translation, or that was actually in the like was this really in there, or was this just like there's kind of like a vague Japanese word that more or less means the same thing but not as harshly, so we're just going to say bitch, like I wonder I wonder if it really works that way.
I'm thinking it's kind of like that. I feel like it's a Japanese word that's kind of similar, but maybe like not nearly as intense. But they're just like, fuck it, it's American audience. It's translated. Let's be honest. Men in their mid 30s are probably the ones buying this.
Let's make a little fun.
Translate it for them. So like I think it's kind of like that sort of thing and whatnot. Because even later on, like I think Mario's like, fuck. I'm like, well, okay, that's clearly. Even if it was Japan, I know that he's not saying that in a 10-year-old's comic book or an 8-year-old's comic book, whatever you want to kind of say. Yeah.
Well, what happens is gets eyes from Daisy, and then like Peach is doing the whole thing like, I don't like Mario. I don't care who he kisses. You stupid baka, whatever, that kind of shit. And then like comes around like later, like, but anytime any girl looks at him, she gets all like immediately defensive. So, but
yeah,
then, like,
exactly.
They almost got like Peach and Daisy just kicking the shit out of each other, like, oops, accidentally, like, here, I got you some flowers, like smacks them in her face, like, oh, well, don't worry, let me give you some water. Oh, fuck you, like right in her face.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like going at it and so on like that. Even so, they're all like in this whole process, like as it goes on, you get the main villain from the game.
Go back though. Just go back a page for a second. Just back one page.
Which part?
Here we are. Yeah. I just like how you're on the right one now. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm sorry. There might be a delay. To the second page. I apologize.
Okay, there we go. Back to the fighting page.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a delay on my end. I just like how immediately it's going to like funny, wacky birthday hijinks with the ladies. They're like, oh my god, we're all gonna fucking die.
Yeah, just bomber pilots come in, just start shooting the place up and everything like that. All like, let's just assume that like those are like toads up there or something like that, or just be like, what's going on to the kingdom? We're dying, everything like that. The guy from like the Sahara or whatever, Sarasah land, that like prince, that he looks like the most 80s kind of like you see that in any kind of like Saturday morning kind of cartoon type villain.
Yeah, well, even like when like Tananga comes down, like Master of the Universe, he kind of gives me Garlic Jr. vibes, kind of. I mean, aside from the fact that he's small.
Yeah, totally like that. But I love how he just comes by, just like all hell breaks loose. He steals away Daisy, and Mario's just like, well, you know what? I better get out there and save the woman. And, Peach does. This is the thing that made me laugh so hard. Peach is like, oh, no fucking way am I trusting Mario out there. Not with his Italian genes. You know what I mean? Like, she literally does the thing of like, all I can picture is like almost that South Park episode where like Cartman puts himself in like the
Osmo.
robot for Butters, like my robot friend. like that's literally like what happens in this. Peach is like, oh, I'm gonna follow along in the robot suit.
Well, like, you know, I even like there's a little part where like Daisy's father is just like, no, that like Mario tries to stop Tananga or whatever his name is, and then like just like he stops by like, no, here's what you do, grovel, grovel, grovel. He's like just bowing real quickly, kind of like I mentioned, this is animated. It would just be a simple little 2-frame thing of him up then down, like grovel, 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 like just real quickly like that, you know, just the way they have that like still of it. But yeah, then like then he's like, hey, like the broad stays here. I'm gonna get my side piece. You fucking wait, you know. And then like I'm not a one gal kind of man. You know what I mean? Now shut the fuck up and cook my spaghetti, you know. And then runs off. And then like, Peach is like, oh,
I know you're British, so you can't ever get the recipe right, but you try anyways.
And then he like, you know, yeah, you're right, does the Osmo thing.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm gonna follow her. I just happen to have this robot thing. And then Mario's just kind of like, oh, a robot, yeah, I guess you can come along with me. You got X-ray vision? Well, shit, we're gonna need that later once we see Daisy.
And I like how immediately they're walking through, they come across two Goombas, like, hey, you need to show us, like, you gotta show us like some credentials. Like, no, I fucking don't. Just fucking kills him just for this. Just jumps right by him. Just like no sense of remorse. Like, hey, there's no like, I think Mario would really realistically be like, hey guys, there's other ways to do this. Like, okay, I'll just kill you and your whole fucking family. You know?
And then he's like, hey, a warp pipe, man, there's some money down here. Like Mario's just fucking loading up some cash. Like he's literally just down there collecting coins. And then like, you know, Peach is up there before like, oh, the robot can't even fucking put its own parking brake on. What's going on up here?
He's like, I came here for oil, but I'll leave with gold. I see, like, all worked out.
Yeah, Mario ain't, you know, I ain't leaving this world without getting some money in my pocket and some pussy. Yeah.
Mario
What about
Land.
Princess Peach? Fuck Princess Peach. You saw how much shit I had to go through in those first 3 games. I need something easier.
The idea that he's like Mario, why is it called Mario Land? This one, he's like, because I'm about to buy this fucking whole country. That's why I'm going to get all this gold. Once I get the woman and the gold, they can't turn me down.
Exactly, because once you got the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. So come on, my robot companion. I don't even know why you're here. You know what I mean? I don't even like having I told Luigi to throw the fucking computer out the house because I didn't like it watching me in the middle of the night. I know Steve Wozniak's on the other side. Looking at me through that Apple II. That's what those fucking nerds do. You know what? That's exactly what they do. They stare into their fucking idiot box and they watch other people's lives happen because they don't got one of their own.
I one time like flipped open the little flap to the floppy disk, saw eye blinking and just ran away to the other end of it.
So I shoved my dick in there real quick, put it right out. I could feel the soft part on the other side, and then I felt something burning. And then Luigi came yelling at me as he saw smoke coming out this side. I'm like, yeah, I fucked it to death.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Luigi. I was doing you a fucking favor. That's why he's not here on this adventure, just to let you kids know at home. Because I know that's the first question I always get is, where the hell is Luigi? And I go, you know what? Mario can do things on his own. He doesn't need his brother all the time. I know that's how it started off. But realistically, it started off with me fighting a giant ape, you know, to get a different girl who God knows where she went. Maybe she'll come back one of these days, but not yet. It's Mario Land.
It's never been called Luigi Brothers.
Yeah. You know, remember the year of Luigi? Yeah, nobody does.
Except him. He hasn't forgotten.
Brings it up every fucking Thanksgiving.
But like, then you get the whole like thing with like Peach being Osmo, just running around trying to like I think it was just, well, I guess they needed to come up with an excuse like Peach was there. You didn't have any robot companion in that game, or there was nothing like the little side. Like, I know it doesn't follow you around, but there's nothing waiting for you at the end of the level that's like, hey, I'm here to help you out or whatever. And then like this one, once they come across, that's right, because some of the turtles, when you jump on them, they explode. So they incorporate that. But I like how immediately it looks like one of the flies from the game is trying to like fuck the back of Peach's head right here.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you didn't have a robot, because that was the first thing I thought too. I'm like, was there a robot? I'm like, I really don't remember that. Maybe there was. So I had to play. That's like I said, I had to play the game again. And I was like, no, that's just. I felt like that's just story continuity from Mario 3 to figure out why we got to do something with Peach. I think that was sort of what it was.
And I like how Mario's first reaction is to, like, as soon as he realizes a bomb, he just throws it to the robot. Like, it's not a person. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And one of those ones. And then he's also like, hey, you know what? Once I get this ball, I'm going to take it back and throw it at Peach's dress and look up at it.
Then the robot grabs him by the ass. Like, it's just doing
Don't you fucking dare talk. Yeah.
Doing the Meat Canyon thing. Like, you got a tight little man pussy on you.
And it stinks. If that was Pete Guy's voice. Just the rapey robot. But as it kind of goes on, it does that thing where it starts like incorporating all the game logic and things like that to kind of keep it going and so on. And it's just straight up action for, a good while. That's definitely for sure. Mario just killing stuff until they break in.
It would be just us, like, and then he fights the bees. He kills the bees. They come across a pyramid. They go inside the pyramid. It just become that after a while. In all honesty, there's like some funny moments to point out, but really it is just Mario bumps into this. He kills it. They keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's sort of what it is. It literally goes through all the game stuff, which is actually, in a sense, kind of impressive. I mean, it doesn't like skimp off on anything like that. It adds in all the kind of cool characters, all the Egyptian stuff in there you see, which realistically, if you never played Mario Land, it is kind of one of those ones you see this stuff. It's like, oh, whoa, this is like way different.
Mm-hmm. And you even have like the Sphinx and all that, they incorporate that right there with, is this coming to the part? No, it's not. It's a little further down the line. But there's a couple of screenshots because I remember seeing screenshots before reading this comic and being like, I feel like this might be photoshopped or a fan comic. Like, it's not. And then I'm like, oh my god, all those ones I was thinking of are directly in this book. But we'll get to those when we get to them. But yeah. There's a minute where he thinks he saves Peach, but then it turns into, like in the game, isn't there a moment where, not Peach, Daisy, but then turns out to be a fly or something like that, like in the game? Does that happen once or twice?
Yeah, it happens at the end of every like world when you defeat the boss. It's like, oh, you found Daisy. It's like, finally, it's fucking over. And then it's like, oh no, it's a fly or it's a squid or it's something else. I can't remember what they all were, but like, it always turns into something. And then finally at the very end, it's like, finally, Jesus Christ! At least it was only 4 levels this time. Let's get in my jet and get out of here. You have a jet? Like, yeah, no, I took it from some guy. I mean, whatever.
What are you gonna do?
How complicated can a jet be? I just flew a plane. You know what I mean? It's literally like nothing's more complicated than plumbing. Let's be honest.
I do like the extra. I'll say this: I do like the extra detail they put on to like Jeff Goldblum kissing him here. You know what I mean? Just because you look at the expression on his face, it has an extra level of like. No, like he's like it's not like it's not like that super anime like ew, but he just has this look like this isn't happening. This can't be. This is what my life is. I'm making out with fucking Jeff Goldblum.
I will say this, going to this next page though, I love the artwork that's in this. It's like literally supposed to be like find the difference kind of weird thing. It's like that artwork on that bottom one. I'm like, I wish that's almost what it looked like the whole time. That looks fucking sweet.
But then it's funny because like Tananga is all, or Tatanga, whatever his name is all like
he's all
fucking
retarded.
But everything else is like super well done.
Yeah, the way that Mario and Peach looks, or I guess probably Daisy.
Mm-hmm. I think Daisy. I think.
Oh, you talking about like the
Sue, the little like spider girl or whatever she is.
Yeah, from like the in a sense like the native island thing level.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to that part, but yeah, I think the thing with Daisy is her crown is black where Peach's is white.
Yeah, I
Like
feel back in
his
the
dress.
back in the black and white days, that's how you could tell the difference.
So all the turtles have red bandanas. We'll do something about them when we get to the cartoon.
Yeah, we'll figure it out then, you know. But yeah, as this goes on, I mean, yeah, you are getting more action and so on. I think this is the part right here. This is where we get to like oh shit, there's Mario with his like dick hanging out because there's these dead fish in the water and one just jumps up and bites him right in the balls.
And I like how he's just so like motherfucker, just like stomping it, you know.
Yeah, just like
with the tiniest little baby dick swinging, and then like Peach is like, oh my god, it's so fucking big. Like, not really, but okay, cool. And then he just jumps into then he gets punched. Like, why is the robot afraid of my dick? And then he like gets punched into like a pipe. He's like, oh cool, money, it's all worth it. Throw his dick out.
Money, no pants on, good times. It's just like makes up for it, like whatever.
Just one of the places where he gets bit on. Like I just thought it was like a shot where he's angry, he's like smacking his pants or down or whatever. But I'm like, oh, he actually got bit in the dick. That's a whole other level. All right.
Yeah, so that's why he's stomping the life out of this dead skeleton fish.
And then for a minute he's dressed like what's his name, Kamen Rider or whatever. That there's a couple of references.
Yeah, I didn't put that together, but he totally is. That was a show that I remember because like they brought that out. They're like, shit, Power Rangers is popular. We can bring some other ones like this out. And I remember watching the living daylights out. I literally have a couple of action figures of that, Americanized action figures, I guess. Back
when I lived in San Francisco, there was like one of those super like crazy expensive, like, you know, like one of those crazy expensive toy stores. Like they only sell like imports and like shit. Like they had like a life size Kamen Rider thing. It was more of a newer one, I guess, because he had like a black leather jacket and then like had like the scarf and all that. And I was like, I've never seen this show, but this statue looks fucking badass. Just the design of it and all that with the jacket and the scarf, and it had like these weird like buttons on the thing. I don't know, just looked pretty cool. But I was like, God, what fucking tech bro is gonna buy this thing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's that one where it's like that show. I want to say it came on Fox Kids because it had to have been because I only had 3 channels back in the day, so it had to have been one of those ones. And I want to say, it was just like literally after Power Rangers, was like, what more stuff can we milk from this like genre?
Yeah, it was some. Yeah, there's like there's that one. There's Power Rangers. There's another one I'm drawing a blank on, but yeah.
Yeah, good times though. But yeah, because then he also even does like the Ultraman or Ultraman kind of comes out for a second. For some reason, switches helmets with Peach.
Yeah, that happens for a minute, and this is where they go into they're fighting against like the I guess the seahorse kind of thing. This is more the water section with the submarine coming up.
Yeah, because then they get in the submarine next, where you gotta do which kind of cool. Like you know, when I was playing Mario Land again too, you kind of forget, but those kind of levels where you get the sort of Gradius style shooter sections, it's kind of neat. Just like a change of pace that you would never expect in a Mario game. I remember even just the first time as a kid finding that, you're like, whoa, what's way different.
Yeah, and this is also where they just have more. I can see this being real. Like Mario says, whoa, what the hell is that? When he sees like a tentacle coming up to attack the submarine and all that. He's like, no one's getting fucked today, I tell you what. You know, and then,
I just love like he just like brutally murders all these squid. It's like, look, there's like gore coming out and everything like that. He splits one in half. He's like, get the fuck out of the way. No sushi today.
Well, this thing is surprisingly, I mean, I'm not going to say it's like R level violence, but it's more violent than you assume a Mario manga to be, you know?
Well, it's because, I mean, even though it's like, let's be honest, like even in Japan, like this is probably a manga made for, let's just say about give or take an 8-year-old. That's probably their target audience they're shooting for. You know what I mean? You know, it's not saying that video games and anime don't have a wider range of there, but like this is, you know, they have them all stacked in different ways, and you can tell that this is like your starter comics. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when little Kaji starts getting into manga, this is what you can go out and buy.
Look, Kaji, here's Mario's dick. It's the same size as yours. How do you know that? I'm just assuming.
We see you dancing in front of the mirror. I wish we didn't, but no shirt on, too much fun.
Here, take the fucking Mario comic. All right, shit.
Take it.
I know, I made it awkward.
Read,
my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah. But you know what was more awkward was me walking into that.
I'm just a store owner. I don't even fucking buy I don't even live in the same house as you. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
Yeah. I don't know why there's a changing room in my bookstore.
That's why I let you use the room. That's why I let you use the bathroom anymore. Shit.
You were in there for 3.5 hours. Jesus. But as little Kaji reads his first manga and gets into Mario farther, he learns that Mario. I love how Mario takes that seahorse thing. He's like, "Come on, seahorse, you're going with me." And it's be like, "Well," it's like, "I don't want to die." It's like, "Perfectly fine. You can give me fucking directions." Yeah, I might need one of those later on. I tied your beak up so you don't have to talk because last thing I need is some backseat driver.
Pray don't take the gag off. I might need some roadhead.
You know what I mean? It's a long underwater trip here, you know. And I even love how it gets farther on. And it's like, oh shit, there's a crack in like the glass up there. And they like both Peach and Mario just look and be like, shove his fucking head up there. He's not a real person.
Well, once they start fighting, they even come across, because I remember in that game, at some point you do come across a row of coins that spells Mario. And they even pass by that for a second.
Oh,
And then they come across like the boss, like the main swordfish thing. Not swordfish, horsefish. No, seahorse.
Horsefish. Shit, Pokemon always screws you up.
Horsefish. Seahorse. And then like it kills.
Say horsey.
Yeah. While fighting this thing, it calls in, like there's a bunch of other minions. It starts shooting like, "Hey, those are my brethren!" And like the seahorse thing starts helping out Mario and Peach.
Yeah, exactly. Just in the battle and whatnot, and they get this whole army together to blast it off. Later, Mario's like, "Oh shit, there's Daisy! I fucking got it this time." Goes for a hug, and it's like, "Oh no, it's a squid again," and he jizzed all over me.
Just like, it's like, "Fuck you!" Like runs off. Like, all right, great, figures. I should have seen that.
I should have learned the first time, but happens once, shame on you. Happens twice, shame on me.
On the little editor thing here, like, or artists making jokes about it, like, my fucking sister bothering me when I'm trying to make this game. My editors telling me I suck at my job.
But he's just going off of this long, like, depressing tyrant about his life and someone like that, like reaching out to the 8-year-old audience of Kaji and his friends.
Hey kids, you might enjoy this Mario stuff right now. Well, enjoy it while you can, because at some point in time, even though if you're writing for the game, the comic, you don't have the time to play it, because guess what? Life is busy and life sucks. I just want you to enjoy this now. Life is fleeting. One day we're all going to die. Mario Land.
Yeah, because here's the thing. You think it's fun being a manga artist. No. It's 19 pages every week, nonstop. If I don't have 19 pages, my editor comes in with a cattle prod and electrocutes me while laughing. And then he tells me to make sure to finish those fucking last pages, or else. I don't even want to know what the or else is, because he just locks in the room. You know what I mean? Once in a blue moon, a fucking bowl of rice slides underneath there and says, "Get back to fucking work."
You don't get chopsticks. You have to earn chopsticks. You don't get those yet. 19 pages, then you get the chopsticks. Now you eat it like a fucking dog. Eat like a stupid fucking animal out of the bowl on the ground.
Well, this camera films me for it, and I don't know where they're sending the video to, but somebody's getting pleasure out of it.
Just got to like a room of like a bunch of Japanese businessmen. It's like huddled around like small TV.
And the guy's just like, wait a second. This is the part where he's going to freak out and rip his pants off and yell at the sky. It's great. It's hilarious. I've seen it before when I was editing it together. He gets the greatest mental breakdowns.
We love seeing the working class like suffer. This is why we're here. Oh yeah, you had to go meet artists, huh? You had to go follow your dream. Look what fucking dreams got you. Fuck you.
Continue writing that fucking Mario Land story. So after the artist reaches out for help and doesn't get any because his 8-year-old audience doesn't care. We now get to like the we get to that
the Eastern Island heads.
Easter Island.
They're called. Yeah,
you know, and which is always kind of a cool level in the game. Anyways, it's just something once again ridiculously different. I don't know if there's like someone's like, you know what. Kids are into this Indiana Jones shit. Like, let's how can we kind of go out there to be exploring some ruins and stuff?
I think it's that too. I think that, I want to get on a whole other tangent. I honestly think Indiana Jones has become one of those dad franchises that's probably going to, I think this 5th movie is going to come out and then maybe it gets rebooted down the line, but I think it's going to die off. I honestly think Indiana Jones is going to die off because I have trouble seeing next generation being into old men checking out ruins and all that and archaeology and all that. I have trouble seeing kids being into that in the future. But anyway, yeah.
Well, it's really what it is. I mean, I know this is a little bit off, but like it's literally like the equivalent of like the Dynamite comics. Because let's be honest, Indiana Jones, like it's even target audience. It was long dead even in the 80s. You know what I mean? Almost like they were on the way out, like as that kind of was going on. So it's already was an ancient thing to think about. Not saying that's a bad thing, but you know what I mean? So it's like it's a really old genre in a sense.
Yeah, I think it's uncharted for kids. They're not going to give a shit about Indiana Jones in the future, and I love it. But but I do think going back to this though, I do think they are trying to go the Indiana Jones kind of vibe.
Yeah, just be like, hey, we'll show some kids shit around the world and whatnot. And on Easter Island, they got natives there.
Yeah, the spider. They got spiders, and he comes across this girl. I think her name's Sue or something like that, and she's like this little like. She's this little like she has sharp teeth. I say spider, but she has like sharp teeth and big eyes. Her eyes look different than everyone else because she turns into a spider later. But she's in this little like native like bikini kind of thing, and she keeps on trying to screw Mario over and keeps on trying to like basically feed him to her friends, which are a bunch of other spiders. And he keeps on like, "All right, guys, dinner time." Mario slaughters them all like, "Oh fuck, those are my friends." It's okay.
He's the whole time just like, oh, fucking Mario's trying to, Captain Cook his way across this island now.
Don't think I'm a god.
The whole time he keeps. He's like, look at that. They've never seen someone in overalls before. And so, as he kind of goes through every one of these like dastardly plots she sets up for him is just not working, and Mario's just destroying it and so on until he finally does get caught and she shows her true colors.
And then it's a combination of things. So her spider buddies are about to kill him, and then like the Easter Island guys come in and they end up like she kills all the she melts them with acid, the Easter Island guys, and those guys pull out like a minigun and try to take them all out. But Mario saves her. Like, oh wait, Mario saved me? I guess he's not such a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. As they're like all melting up there and so on. At some point, one of the Easter Island guys just comes out with the most raging hard on.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Here we go. Yeah,
because they get to this labyrinth maze first. So sorry, I'm going in the wrong order. Manga
go back to the labyrinth maze. Yeah,
here we go. Sorry. Yep, up.
Here we are. Okay, so this labyrinth maze. I'm sorry, not the labyrinth maze. Actually, the one where the guy has the boner that's pointing at the screen.
Yeah. So here we go.
So, okay, a couple of things
So
I feel that need to be pointed out. So we'll save the big one for last. We got a little kid just sitting there. Bakuban's Papa. I don't know. I'm guessing that's you got to be Japanese to know that reference. The first one, whatever that is.
yeah, well, that's technically the third one if you're reading it manga style, but
Yeah. Then there's like just a hooker just sitting on like want to play Puff Puff? Like, no, I'm good. And then we just cut to a lion Easter Island thing with a long extended dick, but at the shaft of the dick is a hand pointing, and he of all people in the room is screaming, "Oh my God." There's a pile of shit in the lower left-hand corner of the panel, and then also his mustache is two hands sticking out, flipping the bird. There's context, but I don't know what it is. So there's got to be something, because it's not just like, hey, Shinji, draw whatever the fuck you feel like today. That's got to be something relevant to like Japanese culture or something. I don't know, or inside joke of some kind. I have no idea what the fuck is going on right there.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's also it's sort of like the puff puff up thing. That took me a while to figure out exactly what that was, because that would always, I remember in like Dragon Quest and also in Dragon Ball, it would be mentioned in there, and I always used to think of it from like Akira Toriyama, but like it's one of those ones you're like, well, what is a puff puff? At first it was like, is someone getting a blowjob? And then it's like as time went on, it finally like sort of described it in one of those things. It's like, oh no, I think it was maybe it was even Master Roshi that described it, because who else would tell you what a puff puff is other than Master Roshi's fucking educational class? And it's like, oh no, it's where like a woman puts her breast across your face and you go puff puff.
Oh, I didn't know that. I assumed it was a blowjob. So,
well, that's why I was, because like in Dragon Quest, it sounds weird. It's like Dragon Quest seems like they're friendly. They don't. All of a sudden you find these like women in town. You're like, do you want puff puff? And you're like, sure. And then the screen goes black and you hear like some music. You're like, well, what just happened there? And you're like trying to figure out this the whole time.
All right. Well,
you're like, well, my stat points are going up, I guess, so it must be good.
Yeah. They left that out of the movie.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't in that one.
They had time to put in that Matrix bullshit.
But still, okay. But yeah, they didn't have the puff puff scene. But so yeah, as I said, this is the part right here that like when the American, Nintendo America was probably reading this in 1989, they're like, no. We can just cut this page. No. What? Oh my God! What is going on here? That is true.
Like, yeah, look, the guy's smoking. Smoking is the least of our fucking worries right now, Bill. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The smoking hooker, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, kids probably think that's just their mom.
Shit, they probably think the Eastern Island thing might be their mom for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. People will come from different walks of life, but yeah.
So I guess we're moving on. So moving forward, that's where they start all throwing.
This is the most interesting and shocking part that you'll see in here that will make you question for life.
Yeah, no, this is like one of the most that is single-handedly has the most weirdest shit on like a page for a Mario comic right there. I do think it's kind of interesting though, once Mario defeats the Eastern Island guy, like, and the girl Sue or whatever helps him after she turns into her spider form. She's like, yeah, oh, by the way, if we kill that guy, everything on the island dies, including me and my brethren. Bye. Like that seems like a big call to make. Maybe if she said something like they're already all dead, I don't give a shit. Maybe if you had more of a moment like that, but like everything on this island's now going to die, so I'm going to have to. So no point in living.
Yeah, just everyone dies, and then Peach is like, "Oh, Mario's sad that I was gone," and Mario's like, "Don't you fucking say that again. You know what? I was gonna be Captain Cook of this island, and they're all gone now. You know what I mean? I was gonna be ruler, and they're all gone because of what I had to do to save them."
because I had to fight a giant Eastern Island head in sunglasses. In a thing that had a
You know why he had sunglasses on? Because he's cool. I still don't know what that is. I can't get that image out of my mind. I'm glad Luigi didn't see it, because believe me, he would start drawing pictures on the wall of it, and there'd be 1,000 of them like some mental institution case.
He'd be starting up a DeviantArt account. He's easily confused.
You know what I mean? He would think that's what women have underneath their pants, and I would not know what to say to that.
I would sit down like I'm about to have the birds and the bees talk with him, and like, no, just get up, walk away.
Luigi,
Sometimes
you're 36
Darwinism.
years old. I think it might be time, but I'm also not too sure.
Every time I give you this much, you find a way to fuck it up.
So don't worry about it. I'm going to go fly my plane. I'm going to China. You know what? It's best to just let me do my thing.
Do you like that one Tom Selleck movie?
You know, the one, it's like Indiana Jones, but just not as good.
Yeah.
Still good, but not as good. Let's be honest. He just wishes he was in Indiana Jones now, and he'll just never be able to regain it. He turned it down, and look where he is.
Blue Bloods.
Not bad. Just not Indiana Jones. That's what I'm saying. Everything he does, it's all people are like, hey, it's good, but still not Indiana Jones.
You ever hear say, "Hey"? You ever hear him say, "Hey, it's good. It's just not Blue Bloods." No.
No. Even Indiana Jones 4, they didn't even say that on it. They're like, well, you know, Blue Bloods is good, but Indiana Jones 4 is still at least Indiana Jones. So here we get to our big glaring fuck that happens to be across the title, which I can't believe little Kaji would be reading it that way in Japan.
No, I don't believe that would be in there. I believe there's got to be some other kind of like maybe something to the point of shit that's not shit, or just some word that we don't have in English, but it's not as harsh as fuck. That's what I'd assume, at least, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the realistic thing. I just think those ones like, fuck it. Like, we can put whatever word we want in there. Well, let's be honest. That's what he's really saying.
It's kind of like going back to the old days of like, when like, you know, when anime dubbing companies were in someone's basement, you know, and like they like cocksucker was every other word, basically.
Yeah, like Appleseed. That's what I was thinking. Because Appleseed's like, oh, what the shit fuck's going on in here? Oh, god damn it, you stupid fucking cunts. What are we doing here? Oh, I don't know, but this fucking place is getting all torn up. It's just like, man, they're finding ways they can throw fuck anywhere.
Man, what the fucking taint balls is going on in this fucking shithole? You know, so like, God, someone is like, guys, it's a cartoon and we could swear and there's tits in it too. Like, we know, God, dude, it's the fifth day. You don't got to say that every day. We're in the fucking recording studio. By recording studio, it means your mom's basement. Yeah, fuck you. I know.
Fuck you. You like the brownie she made? Well, yeah, I can't fucking know. Yeah, fucking right. You don't get that in any other recording studio. You don't get that at fucking Disney. Let me tell you that. That mouse isn't serving that shit there. Yeah, at least I got fucking air conditioning. Well, fuck you, Frank.
Smells like ball sweat and brownies.
And the microphone, when you turn it on too long, it kind of overheats and you get that nice burning smell of like electronics.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mario's in here and he's fighting off Chinese ghosts and stuff now, throwing his fucking balls around like nobody cares.
Yeah, and even some point, I'm not sure where it's somewhere in this part. Like, yeah, like this this girl gets bit, and it's not just like, no, oh no, she's a zombie now, but it's full on, just like a blood spray, like almost like out of like with those out of like Blade or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, that's like an intense, like attack." And everybody starts turning into whatever these Japanese variations of vampires are. They say the word in there, but it's like one of those ones where it's like, oh, Maybe it's the P-O-No-P, whatever that translates out to.
Pionopi, yeah. Well, it's also maybe it's something to. Well, she's not dead. They come back to life. But if you were like, dude, I got this Mario comic from Japan, and you flip through, and first off, aside from Mario's dick or the creature that has like has a hand for a dick and
dick hand,
and like a mustache where it's flipping the bird. If you then come across like a girl getting her like neck gored on, like. This is what they do. And this is like that. This is one of the few cases where like, little Billy or like jerk off Johnny says like, dude, the comic is way more fucked up. Like Mario, like just rips his pants off. And like, he's like, also like, he's all, there's also like, like he says, fuck, they say shit. There's a thing that has like a hand on his dick. Like you're making that up. It's fucking real, dude. This is like the one case where that guy was telling the truth.
Yes. He's not lying this time. So
it's the same kid that was talking about the Lara Croft like cheat code where you can make her naked or whatever.
Where you like dive in the water and you swim down, she pops up. She, like there was like an elaborate like scheme. I remember like that thing there. Just literally was just hearsay.
Along with the like Mew under the truck thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you use strength to push it, but you can't get strength until you try to Pokemon early on. Yeah, I know that stuff that doesn't work. But just like some of us get confused, Mario gets confused because when he busts in and he sees Princess Peach is like in there like eating and this robot companion's dead. And then starts putting the two together. Wait,
you're a fucking robot this whole time? You're a robot? You lying whore. You didn't fucking tell me?
Be like, no wonder I haven't got laid in 5 fucking games. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm counting all of them. I'm counting every single one of those games. Mario Brothers too. I know you're not in it, but I expected to get laid at the end of the game too. I'm not fucking my brother. You're not a freak.
Or Toad.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I got standards. The bar might be kind of low. I mean, I'll admit it, but.
Though if there's 2 Toads standing there, their heads are right next to each other, it does look like a giant ass. And that could, no, I'm stopping myself. I'm gonna almost talk myself into something there.
Shit, yeah, you know what I mean? One of those ones. But yeah, and then even Princess Peach somehow gets turned into like one of the vampire thingies, the PNOP or whatever you want to call them.
And he has like a tablet, like a religious tablet, and goes after, and like he's able to use that to stop him or stop the curse or something, or he's able to run through. They don't go after him, something to that effect. And then he goes to the plane. That's right. He gets that and goes to the plane. Like basically, if I can stop it, Phantom Menace is it more or less.
Yeah, get to this plane and they realize, the classic Mario story, like, no princesses been getting married on my dime. Super Mario's coming in here, out of the way. We're taking this on like Pearl Harbor.
He puts on like the bandana with the rising sun flag.
Yeah, so he puts loudness on the speakers. He's like, I know that they came out in the 80s, but still, it just it gives the Japanese feel. And as he kind of goes in there and just starts blowing the living daylight out of this whole place, stopping the wedding.
Well, I like how because it shows the control panel and there's a joke where it's like a Game Boy like control scheme, but then he's pushing the button so fast his fingers are bleeding, and you see like more anime blood spray when he's like tapping the button really quickly.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's got like that sort of like right there, like the insides kind of going on of like like that's kind of how it is when you play those games. You're just tapping the living daylights out of those buttons over and over and over again, and building up that dexterity and so on.
I just like how it's actually it looks like his fingers got blown off.
Yeah, it really has that look to it. Like I'll keep firing until my fingers fall off. And as he blows up, it takes the curse away of everything, saves the land. And then Mario, I like how Mario's like, I'm flying off here with this chick now. She's afraid right here. But then Princess Peach is like, oh no, that motherfucker's not getting out of here. I packed this bazooka for a reason. The Stinger missile launcher that, Solid Snake gave me. He said it would come in handy at a time and a place. And to give me his Kodak, or to give me my Kodak to him. I didn't know what that meant, but...
Like I said, I don't trust this computer shit.
So Princess Peach is kind of like, no way is my Mario cheating on me. You know what? I mean, I might not give him any, but no way. No fucking way.
So I'm not sure if it's the next book, but there is another arc. And I'm saying this because I don't know if we're going to cover it or when we're going to cover it. But like, there's another arc where Daisy comes back. And I think she and Luigi might have a moment together. Before that was really heavily established as Luigi's lady. But but then like she does something to sacrifice herself and save everyone, and apparently in this comic stays dead.
Huh. It'd be interesting to check that out because it's one of those ones like it's just the goofy fun weirdness of all this stuff in here. I just love that kind of seeing like what happens and how they kind of go about it and all these things that you only kind of like would think about and wish about like in the 90s. Shit, and 2000s.
It's also something like this particular comic, like because I think the Super Mario Brother Adventure comic that came out in Nintendo Power, I think that book comic is legitimately good. Yeah, it's a comic for like 10-year-olds or whatever, but I think the artwork is really good in it. There is some sincerely funny moments, and some of the characterization on them is kind of interesting, especially Princess Peach. This is a little bit more like when there's less like they probably didn't have as much regulation or as much focus, so these guys had more creative freedom. Because I think this maybe even came out around the same year, or maybe even after that comic. That manga I'm thinking of, but actually no, this had happened before because Mario Land is before Mario World. So yeah. But
yeah, because I think this book is 89. I almost want to say it says.
Okay, yeah. So this is still when they were still like fine tuning Mario as a character. Then, no, I think this comic was still really interesting. I think it was way more of just like, let's just get this crazy shit. Let's catch their attention. Let's get this shit out there. It's okay if it's crass. It's okay if it's like immature. It's for kids. That's what this thing is. Now I have trouble imagining like this version of Mario. I think now there's no way they would let that shit fly this day and age.
No, I feel like it's still at that like kind of Wild West time period of like, you know what, we just need some extra cash flow in Nintendo, put this out here and so on like that. But that's almost what makes things so interesting because it just has that almost jerk off Johnny, like this can't be real, but it is. It's like the one time jerk off Johnny wasn't jerking you off, he was telling you the truth. He was telling it to you straight.
But we didn't believe him. It was the boy who cried Mew. But the thing about that though is the thing about that is I guess Mario is at that point where when we were younger, that's where there's a lot more Mario adaptations and interpretations. But now I think since Mario 64, maybe there's been some stuff in Japan, but I know that one comic is still going on, the Koro Koro comics, but at the same time, I feel like that's like, it's its own thing, and maybe there's a rights thing where they just let it keep going. But everything else Mario, it seems like they don't, up until recently, they don't touch it because maybe they're afraid of like, well, we've seen what happens when we let people do things with Mario. They either make the Mario movie that which is not what represents us, or they make Mario's ripping his pants off and screaming fuck and or like there's a fucking animal with like a fucking dick for a hand on his dick or whatever. So like I think they're just like, you know what, we want to keep it as Mickey Mouse, we want to keep it as clean, family friendly, we don't want other interpretations coming in fucking up this character. That's why we're not even gonna let him really even talk anymore. So yeah, we're just gonna do that now.
Yeah, I think that's what it's almost like they simplified it. They like smoothed off the edges and everything there too, which I do like I just like the Wild West feeling of all that stuff. I mean, that's just like that Mario movie we watched from '86, back in the day, the animated one. That one just has such a different take and feel to it.
Aside from like a few swears, though, I still think that was pretty kind of like on brand for the time. Where this thing, you're just like. That's in the game. That's in the game. this shit all right here is definitely not in the game. So
Yeah, exactly. So there's just weird, fun stuff there. But I definitely would like to see more of where this goes. I always love going down the rabbit hole of like all the weird tie-in comics that like kind of get lost in time that you could never buy normally again.
yeah, no, I'd definitely read more of these down the line. We have a couple of options of things we can do next week for Mario March. We'll talk about that off air. But I maybe we can cover one of these down the line, but I don't know if we want to cover another like this again or the second arc or the next arc of this for the next week. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, well, there's always more Mario in the future, so we can always have another, whether it be a Mario May, Mario March, Mario anything. So you can have Mario all the time. Mario is always good, but yeah, fun stuff to be had in this. Really enjoyed it. Beyond all that good stuff, go to oldmanorange.com. Find more podcasts, comic books like Pizza Boys, and all our other fun stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.